Good evening, dear UzReport World viewers. Welcome to the second season of Review program. In this episode, we'll talk about President Shavkat Mirziyoyev's visit to China. Cooperation between Uzbekistan and China covers a wide range of areas, including trade, investment, transportation, energy, education, culture, and many others. Uzbekistan and China have similar position and approaches on topical issues on international agenda, global security, and development. In particular, the recent visit of President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, to China has once again highlighted the deep friendly partnership between the two countries. The leaders greeted members of the official delegations of two countries. A military band performed the national anthems of Uzbekistan and China. The head of Guard of Honor gave a report to the leader of Uzbekistan, and the head of state went around the Guard of Honor. The ceremony followed by high-level talks. At the beginning of the meeting, President of Uzbekistan expressed sincere gratitude to the Chinese leader for the invitation and warm welcome, as well as high assessments of reforms in Uzbekistan. The heads of state noted that powerful progress has been made in bilateral relations between two countries over the past years. Shavkat Mirziyoyev welcomed the agreements on expanding financial instruments to support investment projects, including the creation of joint platform, as well as decision of China Exim Bank to open regional office for Central Asia in Tashkent. The president also urged Chinese partners to actively participate in processes of privatization of state-owned enterprises and banks in Uzbekistan. The leaders welcomed the intensification of inter-regional exchange. They agreed to establish the Council of Regions of Uzbekistan and China to coordinate cooperation in this direction. They emphasized the importance of early start of practical work on construction of the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan Railroad, designed to become an important part of the transcontinental transport and transit bridge within the framework of One Belt, One Road initiative. It was pointed out that it is necessary to intensify cooperation in education and tourism, to continue the practice of holding mutual days of culture. It was proposed to hold the first joint youth innovation forum. For practical implementation of all planned activities and initiatives, the parties agreed to hold meetings of Intergovernmental Committee and all subcommittees in the first half of this year. The sides also exchanged views on topical issues of regional agenda and international policy. The two sides confirmed their unchanged stance on supporting the One China policy and fighting the three forces of evil. At the end of the talks, Shavkat Mirziyoyev invited the Chinese leader to visit Uzbekistan, as well as congratulated the friendly people of China on upcoming Chinese New Year. The meeting was held in traditionally trusting, open and friendly atmosphere. Uzbekistan is actively developing trade and economic ties with China. In particular, the trade turnover between Uzbekistan and China has increased significantly over the past few years, and at the end of the last year reached $14 billion, with an increase by almost 40%. Investment of Chinese companies in Uzbek economy are also growing rapidly. Thus, in recent years, the volume of Chinese investments in Uzbek economy has increased fivefold and number of joint ventures has tripled. At the end of the last year, two new solar power plants in Uzbekistan with a capacity of 1,000 megawatts were put into operation with the participation of Chinese companies. Financial and technical cooperation with leading Chinese banks and Silk Road Fund, as well as Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, is being widely developed. As a part of the state visit to China, President Shavkat Mirziyoyev visited headquarters of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank and held a talk with the bank's president. They discussed topical issues of further expansion of strategic partnership with this leading international financial institution. In recent years, cooperation with the bank has reached a significant high level. The portfolio of joint projects has exceeded $3 billion. In 2023 only, the volume of attracted investment reached $1 billion. President of Uzbekistan supported the increase in financing of projects for deep processing of strategic raw materials materials and implementation of socially important programs on principles of public-private partnership. As a part of the ongoing structural reforms, New Uzbekistan has adopted a joint program of cooperation until 2026 on implementation of projects in priority areas. Special attention was paid to the issues of supporting strategically important infrastructure projects in Central Asian region. Practical aspects of preparation and holding the annual meeting of Board of Governance of the bank in September this year in the city of Samarkand was also discussed. Today, Uzbekistan and China have reached a qualitative new level of partnership and cooperation. According to the leading Chinese publication Global Times, 2023 has become a milestone year in the history of development of China-Uzbekistan relations. A powerful breakthrough in bilateral relations was exactly what was noted at the recent visit of Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev to China. Thus, the state visit of head of Uzbekistan to China has made it possible to strengthen the success and achievements of bilateral interaction and opened up further prospects of fruitful cooperation for the benefit of peoples of the two countries. Following the results of high-level talks, a ceremony of signing bilateral documents was held. President of Uzbekistan Shavkat Mirziyoyev and President of China Xi Jinping signed a joint statement. They confirmed their intention to comprehensively strengthen mutually beneficial cooperation in various fields and continue enriching the substantive part of Uzbek-Chinese all-weather, all-round strategic partnership. The following documents were signed in the presence of the leaders. Agreement between the Government of Republic of Uzbekistan and Government of People's Republic of China on cooperation in field of environmental protection, agreement on technical and economic cooperation, agreement on cooperation in developing human resources, agreement on cooperation between state scientific research institutions, agreement on cooperation between the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation of Uzbekistan and Ministry of Education of China in field of teaching the Chinese language, protocol between the Ministry of Agriculture of Uzbekistan and the General Administration of Customs of China on phytosanitary requirements and control in export of peas from Uzbekistan to China, protocol between the Ministry of Transport of Uzbekistan and State Reform and Development Committee of China on deepening cooperation on China-Central Asia-Europe Railway Express, protocol between Ministry of Economy and Finance of Uzbekistan and Ministry of Commerce of China on development of cooperation in field of new electrical vehicles, protocol of intent between the Ministry of Poverty Reduction and Employment of Uzbekistan and Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs of China on cooperation in field of poverty reduction, protocol of cooperation between the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation of Uzbekistan and Ministry of Science and Technology of China on further strengthening of scientific and technical cooperation, protocol between the Agency of Technical Regulation of Uzbekistan and Standardization Administration of China on cooperation in field of standardization, agreement between the Ministry of Transport of Uzbekistan and Civil Aviation Administration of China on joint construction of Air Silk Road, plan on cooperation in field of tourism between the Committee on Tourism under the Ministry of Ecology, Environmental Protection and Climate Change of Uzbekistan and the Ministry of Culture and Tourism of China for 2024-2026. Agreement on establishment of partnership relations between Tashkent region and Shanghai province. An agreement on establishing partnership relations between the cities of Samarkand and Qingdao and others. Chinese capital in Uzbek market reached $2.2 billion. China's contribution to the environment is also significant. In particular, Ministry of Ecology, Environmental Protection and Climate Change of Uzbekistan implements the Chinese approach to combat climate disasters. We have invited special guests today to our studio to discuss Uzbek-Chinese relations and analyze the outcomes of the visit. Good evening, Mr. Hakimov. Thank you for coming to our studio today. And let's start our interview with the first question. What are the main areas of cooperation between Uzbekistan and China, and which areas have become priorities after the visit of President of Uzbekistan to China in recent days?
Thank you very much. First of all, for inviting me to your studio. I'm very happy to be here. Indeed, Uzbek-Chinese relations have strengthened remarkably over the last years. We can observe this in the high-level exchange of visits and also the content and the growth rate of the bilateral trade and economic relations. And today our cooperation covers almost all spheres of our life. And that's why two countries are very interested in developing and strengthening bilateral relations. Over the last years, for example, Uzbek-Chinese relations developed to the level of strategic partnership level. And now, after our president's state visit to China, now our bilateral relations even extended to the highest level. Now we can call it as a comprehensive strategic partnership in all conditions. So it means that how high two countries value bilateral relations, and that's why they are very much interested in further strengthening cooperation.
What's regarding the industries? What are the priority areas?
Priority areas, I would say now, as a global trend, now high technologies, industry, all sectors of major sectors of economy and green economy, and also the renewable energies, in my understanding, would be priority areas for the coming years. And also we can see that recently Uzbekistan and Chinese companies launched the major power plant station, which will produce thousands of megabytes of electricity, which for the population or for our industry. Uzbekistan in particular tries to attract Chinese best experience to our national economy. That's why to open joint companies in Uzbekistan to produce value-added products. So it means that now it will contribute to the growth of Uzbekistan's national economy. Regarding the other spheres of cooperation, for example, tourism industry is also a very promising area because of our very famous touristic destination of both countries. Our tourists are very interested in coming to Uzbekistan, or Chinese tourists are very interested to come to Uzbekistan's ancient cities, like the ancient Silk Road. The major cities are located in Uzbekistan. That's why Chinese tourists are very interested to visit, to see, and now their number of Chinese tourists are also growing.
So we know that China is one of the major partners of Uzbekistan, trade partners. So why trade? And you mentioned about the value-added products, producing value-added products. Can you explain what are these value-added products and how this process itself works?
China has major contribution to world economy and especially trade. As China has become like a world manufacturing factory, China produces and exports goods to all over the world. And most of countries have a very huge trade turnover with China, in particular Uzbekistan. So that's why today, as Chinese products are very high demand, we import from China lots of products. For example, they are industrial products, they are chemical products. And recently, we all observed that electronic vehicles, e-mobiles, have become very popular, in particular in Uzbekistan. And if we see the latest trade turnover between Uzbekistan and China, we can see that Uzbekistan has imported lots of Chinese electromobiles, and now it has become very popular. For example, for the last 7 years, Uzbekistan's trade with China almost tripled. From around $5 billion US, now it reached almost $14 billion US. Only in last 2023, the bilateral trade turnover increased almost 50%. So now we have $14 billion US. And however, the trade balance is not very positive because we import very major number of products, but the share of Uzbekistan's export to China is a little bit not very high.
So how it is important for Uzbekistan to cooperate with China, and how it is important for China to cooperate with Uzbekistan? And overall, what is the role of Uzbekistan in China's cooperating with Central Asian states?
The importance of Uzbekistan, we can also see as a Central Asia as a whole region, or the whole subject of cooperation with China. We can see an example of organizing last year Central Asia plus China partnership. So it's a summit. It was organized in 2023, the first face-to-face summit, at high-level summit, in participation of the 5 Central Asian presidents and Chinese president. So it's a format of Central Asia plus China, multilateral cooperation format, which also resulted Chinese, Central Asian, and in particular Uzbekistan's cooperation. Uzbekistan and China is cooperating not only bilaterally, but also in the platforms of international organizations, regional organizations. They are closely cooperating in United Nations. For example, China and Uzbekistan used to be the member of Human Rights Council of United Nations, and they are founding members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And lastly, for example, the Central Asia plus China platform. And also, our president last year participated in the BRICS Plus format. So it also said the Uzbekistan's achievements in its pragmatic foreign policy. So that's why now the image of Uzbekistan is rising, and international partners are very interested in strengthening bilateral and multilateral relations with our country. That's why I expect that our comprehensive strategic partnership in the future will be strengthened and deepened.
Thank you very much for the interview. It was really informative, and thank you for dedicating your time to us. So here our analysis comes to the end. Thank you for watching our program and see you in our next episodes.